Global Talent Bridge is an initiative of WES, as Sarah mentioned, and most people know WES for its credential evaluations. Now, that is one of the key areas that WES, which is World Education Services, which is a nonprofit, tries to help internationally educated professionals to achieve either their career or education goals in Canada and also in the U.S. But we do a variety of things. These webinars are a great example of what we do. And we do most of this through partnerships with subject matter experts such as Access Employment. So we have a library of webinars that we've done in the past, and I would encourage those of you joining us today to look at the WES YouTube page, the World Education Services YouTube page, at those past webinars. We did one a while ago with Access around job search, so it's a wonderful complement to the one we're doing today. We've done others with IT companies in Canada and talking about what they would like for to hire someone and the qualities that they're looking for. We also did a session on financial services careers in Toronto. We've done them on personal branding and how to use LinkedIn effective. So I would encourage all of you to take the time. Those of you who are on the way to Canada, it will really enhance your success if you take the time to watch these and learn from these sessions. And for those of you in Canada that are enjoying us, also, these are great resources to tap into. And since most people do know WES as the Credential Evaluation Service, we would ask that if you enjoy any of these webinars or the recordings and you're on social media, please do share them with people that you think could benefit and help us get the word out about these resources that we're trying to develop for people. At the end of the session today, there will be a post survey. It's your chance to have your say on these sessions. We try to develop them based on what we think you'll need and also what you say you would like. And so WES does look through these post surveys and develops resources based on those. So please give us your feedback. I'm going to turn it over to the team at Access in just a moment, but I do want to say, as an independent person not connected to Access, that there are many, many service providers in Ontario and across Canada, and Access is at the top of that industry. They're a well-regarded organization, a great staff that are very effective at helping internationally educated professionals to launch their careers in Canada. They have great programs, a variety that can probably serve virtually anyone. So I would encourage, if you're on your way to Canada, the team's going to mention some interesting resources that perhaps you can tap into in the not too distant future before you even arrive. But once you are here, and if you are in the Greater Toronto area, please look up Access and connect with them to help you to launch your career. So they're going to talk today about networking. Professional networking in Canada is a critical component to an effective job search. So it's important not only just to listen and participate today, but I would also encourage you to reflect back and revisit this webinar either before you arrive or after you arrive to kind of refresh your memory on some of these important points. And the great part is Access also has a participant of a client of theirs is going to speak later on in the session after we talk about networking to share their experience with Access and immigrating to Canada. So, they and the team at Access will all be able to answer a few questions at the end of the session today. So as Sarah mentioned, type in your questions in the chat box and we'll do our best to get as many as we can in before our time is up in about less than an hour now. So I guess with that, Sarah, you can give the presentation control to the team at Access.
Great. Hello, everyone. This is Ada. I'm the Senior Manager of Marketing and Communications at Access Employment. I'm really happy to join everyone today and introduce our organization. As Stephen mentioned, Access is an employment services organization in Toronto, and we have 5 locations, and we offer job search services to both job seekers and employers. I'm just going to set up, the presentation view. There we go. We serve our clientele, which is from 120 countries around the world, and we specialize in serving newcomers. So Our overall results, we actually have programs that serve individuals from 6 different sectors. We specialize in engineering, in finance, human resources, information technology, sales and marketing, and supply chain. And our clients come to us to find work in their field of expertise. So our programs, what they do is, instead of duplicating existing experience and education, our programs really serve to maximize the experience and knowledge that our clients already have and place them into their field of work. So these programs have an amazing success rate of 83% each year, and our graduates find work typically between 3 and 6 months after they arrive in their sector and at their level. So without too much delay, I just wanted to spend 1 more minute to introduce our upcoming services. And this is something that might be of interest to everyone around the world. Beginning in January of 2016, we'll be offering Canadian Workplace Connections. And this is a program that will be offered online. It's funded by Citizenship and Immigration Canada, and it will provide all of our sector-specific programs in those 6 areas online for pre-arrival immigrants. So everyone who is coming to Canada on their way will be able to access our employment services in advance. And this, I think, will make a huge difference to the success rate of all of you when you arrive in Canada and are looking for work. So I just would like to turn it over now to Marcello Scarzella. He is one of our employment consultants here at Access and delivers these workshops on a regular basis in person and online. He has an amazing expertise in both working with our clients and also in facilitating and training. So I'm really happy to have him with us here today to be able to present our workshop on networking.
Ada, just 1 sec, if I could, since we do have usually a lot of people overseas, I thought it might be worth to clarify when you talk about on their way to Canada. Could you talk just briefly about what that means in terms of they have their PR status been approved and they're just waiting for their documents? Do you have that information as yet, or?
We don't have the final information, but as we understand, it's a letter of confirmation from Citizenship and Immigration Canada that you are on your way, your documents are on their way. So the exact process we'll be able to announce in the next few months, and we'll be doing this via a wide media release. So we'll make sure that that makes it to you as well, Stephen, so you can share it with your audience.
Perfect, thanks.
This is kind of a sneak peek. All right, so I'll turn it over to Marcello at this time, and if there's any questions later, we'll be happy to take them during our question and answer.
Good morning from Toronto, Canada, and then good afternoon and good evening to everyone else in the world. Again, this is Marcello, and I look forward to presenting networking strategies. So today we're going to cover some interesting topics. Part 1 is going to be a bit of an introduction to networking. Part 2 is going to be a little bit about networking strategies. Part 3 is going to be preparing your networking tools. And Part 4 will be the power of social networking. Now let's begin with Part 1, intro to networking. I'd like you to imagine your network visually right now. And it probably would look or may look something like this next slide here. You know, in your mind, think of a visual. These are people that could be your friends, it could be your neighbors, it could be people that you meet in a social setting, it could be people in a professional setting. So really, your network is a combination of all these wonderful profiles of individuals that are there to connect with and to help you build your network for future success. I'd like to talk a bit about networking facts. First of all, formal versus informal networking. And really, and again, there are 2 ways to network. Formal is very effective, of course, because you want to establish your professional contacts. That's important. And there's also the informal networking. These are things like downloading apps on your phone, for example, something called Meetup, which is a great way to select groups that you want to belong to. Or it could be, again, a social settings. So there's 2 ways to meet people and to make connections. Referrals are highly effective. I think we all realize that the power of making the right kind of impact in a positive way, whether it's online and or face-to-face. As people become impressed with you, and of course you want them to talk about you. It's like hiring a free sales force out there. when you're not paying them. You're not paying them. They're so excited that they're going to sell you. That's really important. And the last point, I just want to elaborate a little bit. It's not just about who you know. It's about who they know. So the more you impress people, the more you connect with people, then it really is amazing. And what we don't realize is the power of the people that they know. So anyone that you meet, you just don't know who they know. So think about that in your mind as you are networking and making that powerful impact. How is networking going to help you? Well, let's look at a couple of points here. First of all, it's going to help you expand your employment prospects, contacts that you're connected to. Really, in essence, it's a great way, it's an effective tool for learning about the employment sector. It helps you do some research, learn about trends, labor market trends, learn about your potential opportunities out there. Perhaps give you chances to meet with professionals in your selected sector or selected area of interest or industry. And of course, the other aspect here too is that you want to extend your network. And extending your network will also allow you to build your self-esteem. This is a challenge for many people. The confidence level, because we have found, and we've worked with many talented clients from around the world that have come into Canada, and even though there's great experience and skills and education and so on, the challenge is to maintain that confidence and to reestablish yourself, because you are repackaging yourself here in Canada. So so the more you build your network and the more you feel confident and the more you practice getting out there, will make a huge difference. And again, another interesting point here, you look at the second last bullet on the slide, talks about practice marketing yourself and your skills. So again, there are many things, many programs that, for example, we offer here at Access, or many opportunities for you to market yourself. To help you build your skills and presentation, to be able to sell yourself with something called a 30-second sales pitch. Just being able to really communicate, who are you? And these are three very important questions to be able to answer. Who are you? What's your area of expertise? And what is the value you can bring to an organization? So again, who are you? What's your area of expertise? And what value can you bring to an organization? Anybody get nervous out there? I think we all do. Very, very important. I mean, it's natural. We're human. So it's okay to be a little bit nervous. But how do you get over that? Well, some points on the slide talk about being prepared. People actually want to help out there. And it's important to keep that in mind. As you build connections and get to know people, you'll find that people actually want to help you. But again, it really gets down to your approach. So the more you do that, then the more you'll be able to get over that little bit of nervousness that's out there. It's really it's about practicing your sales pitch, getting out there, putting yourself out there to take that chance, take that step to really get to know people. Let's talk a bit about the internal job market. And there are two, as we highlighted in the agenda, internal and external. The internal really is being able to access, for example, personal referrals, placing resumes on file with human resources, internships and volunteering. These are the two very, very crucial areas. We always suggest to clients to find opportunities to volunteer. And it could be something that's unrelated or related to your current field. It just gives you a chance to get some experience, but more importantly, to understand and appreciate how people relate and interact in the workplace. And it gives you a chance to show your skills, and that helps you build your confidence and value. The last point is very important too, informational interviews. And these can be established through making the appropriate connections online and face-to-face. I actually have a couple of examples of requests that you can word and you can convey to help you schedule those informational interviews. Again, it's a key area to get to know professionals in your industry of choice, and also to perhaps get some advice and to help you expand your network. The external job market, now this is really jobs that are advertised through job fairs, through seminars, through websites, newspapers, and so on. Really, the amount of your job search time, we always tend to suggest that most of your time really should be building your network, establishing connections, and that's really being able to helps you access the internal job market. The external job market is about perhaps 10 to 15% of the jobs that are advertised out there represents the external job market. The rest of that percentage, so that other 80 or 85%, are jobs that are part of the internal job market. So those are jobs that are hidden. So how do you get to those jobs? Well, connections, building your network, getting to know people, doing that kind of research. And that's going to help you get into those hidden jobs. These are just some suggested websites for the external job market. Monster, Workopolis, and as you can see here, Indeed, Job Bank, Working in Canada, Eluda. There is another website that's not mentioned on here that I'd just like to suggest very briefly, and it's called Glassdoor. So if you go into Google, even just type in Glassdoor, it is a great website for company profiles. It is also a great website to look at salary reviews, industry reviews, company reviews, an excellent source of research.
Could I also contribute just 1 second? I wanted to mention there's also an initiative that WES partners with, and Sarah, if you'd be so kind to put the URL in the chat. Sorry to interrupt. I just thought it was timely with your discussion about job boards. But it's called Magnet, and Magnet is an initiative in partnership with Ryerson University and the Ontario Chamber of Commerce. So what they do is they try to connect people to the Ontario Chamber of Commerce has 60,000 business members, but many of them are small and looking for talent and find it difficult. So the Magnet Initiative is trying to play a bit of a broker role between community agencies like WES and others to connect those individuals that are new to Canada to those employment opportunities that are sometimes hard to find. And Sarah put the link in the chat, so feel free to sign up, and hopefully that can lead to some opportunities for you. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, thank you very much, Stephen. Appreciate it. Okay, so let's go to part 2, and we'll talk a bit more about networking strategies. This is a very important question. Who do you know? So again, if we look back to our first slide where we showed you the visual of all the various people that you know or you can get to know. So really, just say to yourself, as you're building your contacts, who do you know? Are there people that you've met in a workshop? Perhaps you've taken a course recently. Perhaps you have moved into a new area. You joined a group. Perhaps you've gone to a social event. So it's important to be able to take that time and just to start listing. Well, who do you know? And then begin to establish those contacts and make those connections. It's important to have a plan in networking. First of all, you want to research and identify potential networking opportunities, informal and formal. So again, it's if you look at your week, any given week, then you might say to yourself, okay, I'm going to spend 80% of my time looking for opportunities to go out there and meet people at job fairs, perhaps social groups, maybe join some groups through Meetup, for example, and maybe spend 15 to 20% of my time applying online in my focused area. That could be part of your plan. But the bottom line is, your main goal, really, when you look at networking, whether it's informal or formal, is, you know what? It's about research. It's not about looking for a job. Yes, you want to look for a job, of course. You want a job. But it's really about building those relationships. That's the key. And again, the third bullet talks about including a self-marketing strategy in the plan. So really, again, how confident do you feel about, and this is a very important question, as you network and as you put yourself out there, are you able to answer those 3 questions that I suggested earlier? Who are you? What is your area of expertise? And what is your value to an organization? The clearer you are and the more confident you are about that, then that's going to help you with your overall marketing strategy. And another big part of your strategy is research potential employers. And how do you do that? Well, and a big part of it, of course, is social media. An example of that, whether it's through Facebook or through LinkedIn. LinkedIn in particular, especially here in Canada, is growing leaps and bounds as far as the platform of choice. And a big part of that is using the advanced search, to give you an example, and to look for those companies that you'd like to work for. Look for those individuals that you'd like to get to know in your industry of interest. So again, this is very important. And the more research you do, of course, you're learning more about the particular industry itself. As I mentioned before in a previous slide, we're talking about informational interviews. So again, just to sort of briefly describe this, an informational interview allows you to speak with a professional working in your field and learn more about their job and identify areas where you can improve your knowledge of the sector. So really, it's learning about what they do and also just gaining that kind of information and advice. So again, it's about research. That's the key. If you approach informational interviews or looking for chances to meet with people over, and of course, and for example, it could be over coffee. People in Canada love coffee. That's a great one. Or it's just a chance to meet face to face. However, you have to sort of start that contact. How do you do that? Well, do some research on who you want to get to know. what professionals you'd like to connect with. Look at their profiles. Look at the groups they belong to. See what you have in common as well. For example, if I may, I know I'm watching your time very briefly, but just to get you going, or some phrases you could use. And these are just ideas for you to think about as you're making those connections. For example, I was checking out your blog, and I really liked your post about, and many people write blogs online. Please accept my request. I'd like to stay connected. Or here's another one for you. I'm currently expanding my network within the financial industry and looking for opportunities to learn from industry professionals such as yourself. Please accept my request to connect. So again, you're finding that common bond, and you are admiring and you are appreciating that person's profile, recognizing that they're an industry leader, and looking for a chance to connect, to begin that relationship, to hopefully build towards meeting online or perhaps by email. There's a chance to kind of get some advice about the industry. So the more you do this, then the more it increases your chances of securing employment in your field. Let's look at part 3, preparing your networking tools. We all need to have tools. Tools are very important. If you're going to build something, you have to have the right tools. If you're going to network, you need to have the right tools as well. This is a bit of a networking checklist. It's important, as I said earlier, to have a clear objective for each networking opportunity. So again, what is that? Well, you're doing research. You're getting to know people in your industry of interest. You are gaining information about the labor market itself, some of the trends. You'll notice the second bullet is interesting. Have business profile cards with you. And we can ask this a lot. And many clients will say, well, is it important to have business cards in today's age of digital technology and social media and so on? Well, you know what? It is, because many companies spend a lot of money on visual marketing. Very important. And so believe it or not, it's an extension of your brand. It's an extension of who you are. So having those business profile cards is still an important part of your branding and your presentation when you're meeting people face to face. I have a sample of some cards just shortly. Have your 30-second summary memorized. Now, I'm going to expand on this a little bit. We talk about, and I know through Access, and there are many programs out there as well that help you put together what's called a 30-second summary. So it's basically a small little presentation or story about you that highlights who you are, your key skills, your key accomplishments. What value can you bring to an organization? And again, answers those 3 questions. Who are you? What's your area of expertise? And what value can you bring to an organization? And I actually have a sample that I'll share with you very, very shortly. And the last bullet is something that we take for granted. We say dress for success. Well, really, that's really important. It's key. How you present yourself, the impression you make, just your whole image. And it's important to set your own, I always believe, your own personal standard. What is your personal standard for interviews, for networking? Everybody should have one. That means dressing for success. As you said earlier, and just a little expanding here, establish clear goals for networking. And some very important questions to ask yourself, and really in general. What do I want to achieve by extending my network? And again, this gets back to, what's my overall goal? Well, I want to gain knowledge. I want to understand the labor market. I want to get to know people that are in my industry. Okay? How and where can I meet the individuals that will help me with building my career and finding a job? So again, this gets back to, there are some events coming up in my city over the next 2 weeks, so I want to make sure I get to those events. So it's your own kind of research. How do I get past the initial fears, anxieties, and challenges that I have with meeting new people? Again, we all have those. But how do you get past those? Well, first of all, focus on what you can control. Don't focus on what you can't control. This is an area that we all sort of toy with at times. What can you control? You can control your attitude. You can control your approach. You can control how you interact with people. You can control how much activity you do as far as meeting people and getting out there and putting yourself out there. So those are some of the things that you can control to help you get past those fears and anxieties. It's really about activity and practice. As I said before, here's an example of a profile card. Actually, I'll have two slides here for you. What you're seeing here in front of you right now is something that we tend to suggest in most cases. Very, very, very straightforward, very simple. 3 words that we tend to use a lot. Less is more. You could say much more with less information if you're careful. So this is really all you need in most cases. Very, very simple. And if you choose to, on the next slide, you'll see this can be put on the back of the card. If you don't have to, but if you choose to, we tend to suggest to put some key information. A couple of key points about your skills, a little bit about your experience. However, in most cases, we tend to suggest this particular format. Again, very simple, but it's part of your branding. Just a couple of resources that you could check out and research about creating a business card or a profile card. It's really the same thing. There is the office of Microsoft, office.microsoft.com or on the internet. What we tend to suggest in many cases is the last bullet, vistaprint.ca. The majority of our clients, at least anyway, and many people that I know as well, use Vistaprint. It's a great service. There are great business card templates on there and very inexpensive, high quality. So it's just something for you to consider in creating your business card. As mentioned before, we talked a bit about the 30-second personal sales pitch. So again, as the first bullet indicates, and really the message behind the slide is this: you are in charge of who you are. You're your own project manager, and there are many projects within you as an individual. You know, how you express yourself, how you communicate, your resume, you know, your profile on social media, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn. This is all part of you, and a 30-second personal sales pitch is a very, very important part of that. And as the last bullet says, once you have developed your 30-second sales pitch, you can customize it to fit any situation, and that's really the bottom line. Once you've sort of sketched it out, it really helps you in two key areas. It helps you answer the famous interview question that everybody gets. Hey, tell me a bit about yourself. That forms the foundation to help you answer that question. Also, it helps you market yourself and present yourself in a very effective way when you are networking online, face-to-face as well. Just a few points to consider about your sales pitch. You know, you want to be specific about your key skills, your key areas, and your key accomplishments. You want to capture, what you want to capture on a sales pitch is your expertise. It goes back to those three key questions, and I'm going to repeat them because they're very important. Again, who are you? What's your area of expertise? And what is your value? Okay? And one thing I can suggest here, if I may, is once you've established this template, it's not about making it sound mechanical. In other words, make it sound like you. Just be natural when you do this. You know, because people get into a habit of trying to memorize it, and with all due respect, that makes it sound very mechanical. Just once you have that template, you know who you are. It'll come out naturally, and depending on the situation. And if I may, I'm just going to quickly read just an example of a 30-second sales pitch, and see if you can identify sort of the who, the area of expertise, and the value here. Hello, my name is Tatiana. I'm a human resources professional with a proven track record in helping to identify and recruit top-level talent into management. I engage team members and potential candidates through a communicative approach. I stress the need for partnership building and creating a positive work environment. I'm a creative and responsible professional committed to implementing innovative recruitment strategies. So I think this is an example of showing value, showing expertise, especially in the first line. And that's where it's important. You get it in the first section. I'm a human resources professional with a proven track record in helping to identify and recruit top-level talent to management. That says it all right there about Adriana. That's just an example of the impact that a sales pitch should have. And we mentioned about Dress for Success. Here's a great picture of two professionals looking great, aren't they? Fantastic. Let's look at part 4, the power of social networking. Again, this is a key area, especially in today's world, and a major important part of your self-marketing strategy. We're going to highlight some key points about social networking. Now, with social media, you can position yourself as a great candidate. Definitely true. Whether it's on Facebook and of course around the world, you know, Facebook is the largest platform. There's no question. Here in Canada, LinkedIn again is trending very strongly. But any social media platform, it's your opportunity to position yourself as a great candidate. It's your opportunity to really express your personal brand. Again, who are you? What's your area of expertise? So it's important to be really, really clear on that. And of course, an area to be found by recruiters. Recruiters are searching social media platforms all the time. So the more you stand out, online especially, then that increases your chances of getting noticed. And another part of this, of course, being a social media, having a strong presence, really helps you access the hidden social job market. I just want to go back to just for a moment about personal brand. I'm just going to share a couple quick examples here. And maybe you just sort of tell me, or in your own mind, as I'm reading these, which ones stand out to you? And these are sort of general statements, but just to give you an example of what I'm talking about, because you want to create excitement out there. So here's one for you. Well, I'm a customer service representative at Bell Canada. That's sort of okay. But tell me if this is any better. I'm an experienced Bell customer service representative who is a reliable, motivated, and excellent communicator. A little better. It's got some key words in there. How about this one? This is for the accountants out there. I'm an accountant. Okay? I'm an accountant. That's all right. Or is this better? I'm a tax accountant with 10 plus years experience seeking opportunities to minimize tax liabilities and ensure tax compliance. Is there a difference? Yes, there is. Much more, in fact. So again, keep that in mind as you're branding yourself and as you're trying to describe who you are and what focus you have. Okay, social media really has changed our overall job search strategy, and this really just highlights basically what are the key parts of your job search strategy these days. Well, you're on the reputation, how you present yourself. How powerful is your profile? Do you have a strong picture? Does it represent who you are? Is the picture friendly? Does it show how you are currently? Again, and for another part is best strategies. So what are your strategies? Are you connecting out there online? Are you building those relationships to be able to establish those informational interviews? So that's a huge part of your strategy online. Okay, and just a few pieces of information about the impact of social media. And again, you'll see here that a major percentage of the employers and recruiters out there look at LinkedIn as part of the recruitment strategy, and of course Facebook and Twitter. These are growing leaps and bounds. Facebook is still large overall around the world. LinkedIn. Very, very powerful platform. Twitter is being used more aggressively in the last 6 months to a year. As a matter of fact, with more organizations are recruiting through Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter account, you can even go on basically twitter.com if you're curious about this to do some job search. Twitter.com/job search. When you go on that website, you can actually select what industries you'd like to job search in and so on. So just something to sort of think about, but it just shows you the impact. There is a social media recruitment process, and just very, very, very briefly here, there is a need to hire someone, so that has to be established and identified. And then, of course, there's a sourcing aspect, so putting information out there as to what is required, and that's through Twitter, through LinkedIn, and many organizations are doing this. Companies will post jobs online. This is very, very aggressive, especially these days. Sharing information is very important from a company's point of view and from an individual's point of view. And then we have the initial screening, and then we have interviews, of course. Reference checks are a standard part of any recruitment process. And, of course, it's great to get to the offer. We all would like the offer at that point. Okay. You miss opportunities if you, and you can see here for yourself on social media, if you post anything that's negative, and that's really the message here. Inappropriate pictures, poor communication skills, if you have spelling mistakes, anything that's negative. And I think we all know this, but it's important to bring it out and remind ourselves. This is really critical. It's much more important, and you can attract opportunities if you, and you can see some of the points here, highlight your qualifications. And again, it goes back to how you brand yourself. For example, on LinkedIn, in the summary section, that's your chance to show your accomplishments. I tend to suggest that to clients. That's where you show your value in the summary section. That's just an example of where you can attract opportunities. Show off awards, volunteer work, anything that you've been recognized for. That's very, very important to be able to show that on social media. Powerful profile needs a great picture, relevant keywords, attention-grabbing headlines. So again, as you can see here, some of the points are very, very critical. Bottom line is, a powerful profile with a strong picture, a professional picture, how you're branding yourself, answering those three questions: who are you, area of expertise, value, very, very important. Making some connections on Twitter. We talked a bit about Twitter just very, very briefly. And again, the bottom line is, on Twitter, if you're on Twitter, the key, especially initially, is to retweet. It's like you're resending messages out there. Anything that you like, that you find interesting, and to share with your followers. That's a great part of Twitter. It's fantastic. Tips on reaching out to recruiters. Again, that's all about research. Look on LinkedIn. Use the advanced search to to search out recruiters, check to see if they connect, if they link to their Twitter feeds. I mean, that's just some examples. So really, it's about research. Very, very important. Okay, so I just want to summarize what we covered in the webinar. We talked about intro to networking. We talked about networking strategies. We talked about preparing your networking tools and the power of social networking. We hope there's been some information that's helpful. Thank you so much for your time. I'd like to pass it back over to Ada Wong. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Marcello. And this is actually a combination of 2 workshops that we deliver in person that are 2 hours each. So it's been quite amazing for you to summarize the information in a very short period of time. But we do have other resources on our Facebook page, on our LinkedIn, and in particular, I would direct everyone to our YouTube channel. There's a number of videos that are in-depth in terms of these topics, so you can take some more time to look at this. And of course, our website, if you email, we do have sector-specific contacts, project managers for each of our sectors, and their contacts are available through our website. So please feel free to take a look there. I would like to now give you a concrete example of how networking actually works. And this is something, you know, we teach everything. We can talk all we want in workshops, but what really brings it to life and really puts it into a bit of a reality is a success story. So we'd like to introduce Tatiana Pari, and she is a graduate of our Leadership Connections program. She has a financial services background. She also participated in Access's networking program, Speed Mentoring. And Speed Mentoring puts mentors and mentees together in a room and basically gives, in a very short period of time, professionals to introduce the opportunity to meet and introduce themselves to a number of working professionals in the sector. So she was successful here, and I'm happy to turn it over to her to share her story.
Hi, hello everybody. My name is Tatiana Pari, as I told you. I arrived here in Canada 8 months ago. I'm from Brazil. And I arrived here completely lost in how to find a job here in Canada, because everybody used to tell me that it's very different from Brazil. And I just started to looking for a job on the internet and sending resume every day, and I got a few couples of interviews, and it started to be very hard for me, you know. I heard about this program at Leadership Connection in Access Employment, and I decided to attend this one. And they are very, very amazing with us. So they taught us how to deal with the Canadian market. They taught us how to build a great resume, how to perform interviews. And then one of the most important things that they help us, they help the new immigrants, and it's very important here in Canada, as Marcello told before, is the networking. One thing that you have to be in mind that is here in Canada, to find a job is almost everything about build a good networking. And I have been in 3 speed mentorings. These 3 speed mentors actually in the same bank that I'm working. And one very important thing that happened with me in these 3 speed mentorings was not just about I want to sell myself, I want to sell my brand, but while I was working with the people, I was actually interested in their life as well. So I think that build this connection with them is very interesting. And through these 3 speed mentoring that I participate in this bank that I'm working right now, I got connection actually that called me to participate in the recruitment process. And through this 3 recruitment process, I got 2 job offers. But the curious thing that happened with me actually was the position that I am right now. I met the head of the department in one speed mentoring, and it was very funny because it was the same day of the concert that I really, really like to go, the Rush concert. And then after the speed mentoring, they invited some executives of the bank to talk with the mentees. And I get connected through 2 executives in this bank, and they asked me, oh, how are you enjoying the event? Do you think that is very profitable? And I talk with them, sure, it's very interesting. I told them my elevator pitch, And then I asked them about their area of expertise inside the bank. And in the end, I told them, oh, the event is very, very interesting, but unfortunately I have to leave right now because I'm going to the Rush concert. And then in this both case were so amazing because they were so interested in know a little bit more. Also, you are a Rush fan, so tell me a little bit more. Do you like Rush? How long have you been listening Rush? So, oh, here a piece of paper. This is my email. Send you my resume. So it was very funny how, sure, I'd like to ask them for a new connection, but when we start to talk a little bit more, not just about a job, but about common things in life and common things in our lives was pretty easier. And one of the people that I met in this speed mentoring, he sent me a message a couple of weeks after that, telling me that they're supposed to be have a position actually in their area, and then I have been there. I made an interview, and one very curious thing is that the guy who approved my position was actually the guy that was very excited about. I am a huge fan. So it was very interesting, this kind of stuff. So the people have to know that you're not, it's, how can I say, not just, you don't have to approach them just to ask for a job. You have to approach them to know a little bit more about their lives, and they have to know that you are here open to a new connection, that you are here open to new opportunities. So this is very interesting. I started to work in this bank 3 weeks ago, and I'm very, very happy. And actually, I'd like to tell a little one thing more that was very interesting in this process, recruitment process that I have been through. Actually, I think that they asked me 3 or 2 questions regarding my hard skills. Everything else was regarding my soft skills. I mean, how do you deal with a problem? How do you behave in this kind of situation? And my head told me, Tatiana, hard skills is very easy for us to teach with the people, but soft skills, they are very hard to teach. So we really prefer hire people that are easygoing, that they are team player, that they know how to deal with people. So this is one thing that you have to have in mind when you arrive here in Canada and you start looking for a job. You need to be open, you need to be friendly. This is the kind of thing that the people really like here. So I hope I had helped you in this kind of information. Be open to arriving here in Canada. Maybe the beginning will not be so easy, but the people here are very, very open to networking and to build new connection and to have new friends, actually. That's it, a little bit of my history.
That is absolutely fantastic, Tatiana. You said so many important things there. I want to mention just 2 of them. One, you talked about you're genuinely interested in learning about the people that you're connecting with. And that's a real key with professional networking in Canada, and that is you could call it that it needs to be mutually beneficial. And by that, I mean, you may think if you're a newcomer to this country, how could you possibly have anything to contribute to this person that's well established in Canada? But you never know. There are so many questions, which we hopefully will get to in short order, but we'll do our best, was around supply chain. And you may think, well, if I'm new to Canada and they're well established, well, if you're in supply chain, perhaps the company that individual works for is looking to get a supply chain stream from the country you came from. Now, it's important to not think that it's what would be called doing favors. I'll connect you to this, supplier back in my own country if you connect me to a job opportunity. That is not kind of accepted in terms of the Canadian workplace and professional networking. But if it's beneficial in that it doesn't cross that line, it's important to try and gain and contribute to the other side of that networking relationship. And Tatiana, the other thing you said was the hard and soft skills. And as my colleagues at WES are probably smiling, knowing that I wanted to talk about that anyways, I'm glad you brought it up. She's so right that in many cases, of course, it's almost assumed that you have the hard skills that would be required for the job. Now, you need to also prove those, but as she said, the soft skills are the ones that are very hard for companies to teach, and that's why those are the ones that they really want to find out if you have. Now, soft skills vary depending upon whichever country you come from. Teamwork in one country may look one way, and it would probably look different in another country. So some societies are all for one, will all work collaboratively in trying to achieve our goal, and others are more, I'll do my job, you do your job, and by each of us doing our own individual things, we'll achieve our goal. Now, that is really hard to know until you experience it, until you come to Canada and see what the difference might be. Fortunately, I'm going to tell you about a program. There are two names you can research. There's either the Workplace Communication in Canada program or the Intercultural Communication for the Canadian Workplace. Same program, just a new title that they've introduced. It's an online program. It's self-directed. I would highly, highly encourage anyone that is on their way to Canada to look into this program, because it can help fill in that understanding of Canadian workplace culture that Tatiana talked about. And thank you, Marcello and Ada, a tremendous job as always. I knew that you would do fantastic, and I was not disappointed. We have so many questions, and interestingly enough, it's wonderful that we're doing the webinar with Access, because many of them are related to okay, someone asked for the link for the Workplace Communication in Canada program. I will try to put that in while I give a question to the team at Access. Some of the questions, there's some around HR, and these are almost more job search questions, but we'll try and find some networking related questions as well. But I think it's very important because Access is on this call to talk about these. So questions around HR professionals coming to Canada, and how do they learn those local labor laws and all of that. IT professionals asking about different resources. Also supply chain, as I mentioned. Now, I'm certain Access has those bridging programs for HR and if you have engineering as well, but also IT. Ada,
yes,
Marcello, do you have a supply chain one? Is that
just address them briefly in turn. In particular, our HR program is really focused on giving a very comprehensive overview of labor market and labor laws in Canada. So taking the existing HR background and giving a Canadian context. And that program is a jam-packed 6 weeks. So we really wouldn't find that anywhere else. If you took it in an academic setting, it would probably be a full year or 2 years of courses. But Access offers a 6-week full-time overview of all of those areas for HR. For IT, it's less about hard skills, and as Tatiana mentioned earlier, that program focuses on workplace communication and culture, which is so important. It also includes an overview of kind of the leading technical areas and skills that are looking for in the sector. This includes some project management, an overview of Agile, and also Accenture, who's the sponsor of the program, does a technical and presentation piece for each of our cohorts. We also have the other sector programs, which are all very specialized. So I'd really encourage, I'm not the expert and the project manager in each of those areas, but I'd invite you to visit our website and reach out to the main contacts for each of those programs. They have more information, they have more knowledge than I could possibly speak to.
Great. To build on the IT question about resources, the Information Communications Technology Council of Canada, and my colleague Sarah hopefully can dig up the link for this, they have a website called eTalent, I believe, where they give you really in-depth insights into where the labor market opportunities exist across the country. So eTalent, I believe it is. Sarah, maybe you can look that up for me while I field some more questions. There are a number of other resources available too that you can probably search out online. One question that's related to networking, which I think is quite interesting, it came in just a moment ago. Now, I think a lot of the networking we talk about is in some respects in regulated industries, perhaps, or corporate Canada, if you will. The question was, any tips for networking in research, science, research, and development? How about that?
Hi, how you doing? Thanks for the
Martello?
question. Science, research, and development. Really, my first thought would be this. Although that's not my area of expertise, but I would say this: for any area of interest or any sector of interest, first of all, LinkedIn is a powerful tool. So again, I would still go back to, as we said in the presentation, I'll go back to that advanced search and get to know individuals or professionals in that particular industry. That's one of the things I would do. Again, use that advanced search to search out associations, groups, organizations that are related to that particular area or discipline, basically. So, and there are many groups out there that have special interests that relate to things like that you mentioned here in this question. So it really gets down to that kind of research and looking for any opportunity to meet those professionals that are in that particular sector. So that's what I would do.
And the other thing I might just add is there's also a lot of professional associations and groups that are on LinkedIn. If you do it by geography, so if you're landing in Toronto or you're landing in Calgary or Montreal, if there are local groups with professionals in that particular area, I'd recommend that you join those on LinkedIn. And then immediately you're able to connect directly with the member of that group, any of the members of that group. And also, if you used advanced search, to see the connections that they're connected to, the companies that they work for. LinkedIn is an amazing research tool. It might not be your sole and only tool, but it certainly can open up a network of professionals for you.
It's really true. I mean, I've done a lot of partnership work in the past, and before LinkedIn, I don't know how people would have went about doing a lot of that type of thing, because it's such a useful tool. And I have used the service where you pay a bit more, where you have a bit more functionality. So that may be something to invest in, at least for a period of time to get started, because there are some opportunities to connect directly with people that you don't have a shared connection with. So you might want to look at that as well. One quick note, there are a fair number of questions, as we probably have a lot of people overseas, sort of related to the immigration process. And I just want to say that, based on Canadian law, the only people that can give that type of advice are either immigration lawyers or people that have been certified by the ICCRC. I can't remember what that stands for, but it's a regulated immigration consultant, essentially. You should only get advice from people that have that certification or a lawyer. So seek someone out like that. They're probably easy enough to find online, and they can help you with those immigration-related questions. There was one, this is a bit back towards job search team access, but I think it was the person that is in supply chain and logistics. They're planning to arrive in April of this coming year. And I believe they asked, should they start searching for a job before they arrive? And I know the answer to this, but I'll leave it to you to contribute.
Well, first of all, I would say yes. Number one, certainly you want to do some research, and even before arriving, see what's happening in the industry. See what opportunities may exist, or potential opportunities may exist. So give you at least an understanding or a flavor as to what may be available here. And once you do arrive, and we look forward to seeing you. Once you do arrive, there's a wonderful program that we offer here. For example, at Access, and it's supply chain management. And I would encourage that particular individual to connect with Access and to connect with the teams that facilitate and teach and coordinate that particular program to really help you integrate into the labor market and to give you the kind of support that you need from a mentoring, coaching point of view and education point of view to help you be successful.
And also having, I think one of the first steps in most of our programs is having a target list of employers. And doing this research in advance, knowing who you want to reach out to in advance is an excellent thing. And that means that if you come and you're ready, the last steps are really to just give you that Canadian contacts, that information, refine your resume, get you ready for those interviews. But you're armed with all of that information in advance, and that can only help when you arrive. The other piece I wanted to add is that supply chain, I think itself is a booming sector in Canada, and there's a number of shortages in jobs and labor. So it's about our candidates have a really high success rate actually.
They do.
So it's really about getting everything getting your international experience on paper in order.
Great. We are just at that time. I just want 2 seconds. There's a question about business dress for Canadians. Depends on your industry. If you're in corporate Canada and banks, it's probably a suit and tie. For other industries, it may be more business casual. It depends. You'll have to do a bit of that research, and that's where networking can play a key role. But do a bit of advanced research, as Martello would say, and see what others are doing and kind of follow that lead. There are still so many other questions, but I think we're at that full hour, and I want to be respectful of our presenters' time, and I'm going to have to kind of wrap things up there. But I am so delighted and thankful that you all at Access, Martello and Ada, could join us. And Tatiana, thank you for contributing your personal insights. It's very valuable for people to hear what it's like as a newcomer to go through the process. So hopefully this has been useful. Again, at the end of the webinar, there will be a post survey. Please fill it out. That'll help us develop future webinars. And again, please share the recording once it's sent out if you have refer back to it in your networking efforts. And thanks for everyone for joining us. Thanks Access.
Everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Tatiana. Bye, everyone.